on that because I don't know what he said. I read several reports.
I read it every day here, and it's a shame.
Yes.
I'm sorry to disturb you.
But that's quite all right. Well, that's showbiz.
Bernard Joy, the ex-Arsenal and England centre-half, reported the match for the Evening Standard.
That bad. It was a vile match. It was violent, intimidating, provoking, time-wasting, call it what you might. This is what the match was like over there. Here we got the two finest clubs, the best in South America and the best in Europe, meeting, and they produced football which wasn't worthy of the 4th division.
There certainly wasn't the degree of dirty play which the English players suggest. They talk about brutalities, and they use a string of epithets which to me are just completely unrelated to the game as I saw it that particular day. They similarly make semi-slanders against the behaviour of the Argentine public. One thing that I would like to say about this is the Argentine public in that particular match behaved much better, I thought, than would an average English First Division match.
Well, I talked about chopping from behind. There was one occasion when Best was in midfield and he was caught knee-high, not ankle-high, by a fellow coming at him. There were cases of going over the top of the ball. By that we mean when a fellow's kicked the ball, they come in late with the tackle, and this can break a leg.
If it did happen, surely to God, a First Division team from England who played in the sort of matches they played in, that Manchester have played all over the world, surely they've got used to that by now.
One of their players, Togneri, did this to Burns near the touchline, and when everybody was concentrated on Burns lying there in agony, he came back into the middle of the field and punched Best in the stomach. The referee didn't see it, but we were in line of vision from the press box, and we saw this. There was another occasion when Pachame did over the top again to Bobby Charlton. He collapsed in the centre circle with blood spurting from his leg. And the club doctor, the Manchester United club doctor, said afterwards he was lucky not to have broken a leg. And then the most cold-blooded thing of all was when a free kick was being taken outside the United penalty box, Bilardo, who is a qualified doctor and therefore one presumes an educated man, runs into the penalty box and butted Styles with his forehead over Styles' eyes.
Britain, and particularly it seems the newspapers, have an awe-inspiring and overriding ignorance about Latin America.
I was there on the spot and I consider I was reporting what I saw. I wasn't carried away except by the violence of their play. I thought it was quite fair the way we treated the Argentinians. I've seen now 8 matches between British sides and Argentine sides, and it's always been the same. They've got this cynical disregard for what we regard as a sporting way of playing the game, and they concentrate on stopping a man come what may.
They think possibly that this has got something to do with the various political questions, possibly the question of the Falkland Islands. They regard the British people as being terribly obstructive about this thing, and not to go into the rights and wrongs of the thing, which has baffled the great juridical minds for the last 2 centuries.
I think there must be some insecurity in their national temperament. I can't see any other explanation for it at all.
Once heard a lot in the British press over the past year about soccer hooliganism, and from what I've witnessed this soccer hooliganism to comprise of, I would say that it's far worse than the way that they behave here.
When we were in the Argentine, the hospitality, the friendliness was first rate. The red carpet was down for United and all their camp followers like myself all the time. But once they were on the field, the knives were out.
When Estudiantes left for England on Tuesday, thousands of fans turned out to wish them luck. They're the champions of South America, as Manchester United are the champions of Europe. The contest for the World Club Championship is in 2 halves. The first leg was at Buenos Aires last month, and Estudiantes play at Old Trafford on Wednesday, 1 goal in the lead. If they hold that 1-goal advantage at Manchester, each Estudiantes player knows he will receive a bonus of £1,700. It's not just a very important match, it's also a very profitable one.
Big Boys. Ho, ho, we are the Big Boys. And if you are a city fans in the Royal Guide, we will follow United.
But as soon as we got out there, it changed completely. They didn't want to play football. They just wanted the aim, and that was, they stopped us from winning. They stopped us from doing anything. I got to the stage after 10 minutes, I was afraid to go to the ball. It was like that.
Well, I'd have been a coward as well if I'd had the treatment that these fellows had on the pitch. You got three of the greatest players in British football, Dennis Law, George Best and Bobby Charlton, jumping a foot in the air every time they had the ball because an Estudiantes player was come chopping his feet from under him.
Because I'm not going to break my leg just because some idiot, doesn't want me to play well. It's a waste of time. Any of our players could have their leg broken in the match, quite easily. And it's just not worth it. I'm not going to ruin my career for anybody. It's one big long war of nerves. They try and make people lose their temper even before they get on the pitch. And they're starting it again before the second match. They obviously think if you lose your temper before you get on the pitch, they've got an advantage over you. But they'll find out different in Manchester.
United got a rough deal from the Argentinians.
They were animals, they were savages.
They should have a rough deal over here. Well, they won't get a good reception from the fans. No chance.
The main difference in Manchester will be that United will get the support of the Old Trafford crowd, and they'll get the special support of the Stretford end. They're 20,000 teenage fans who believe they can shout louder, longer and harder than any crowd on earth.
A Stretford end are...
The really keen people, they all go on the Stretford end.
The noise, the song.
Somebody gets his feet kicked from under him, well, it's just like it happening to you. If they're scoring a goal, it's just like you scoring that goal. It's not a football match you want, it's a battle. If it's near the end and they're already losing, they're going to lose nothing by going on the pitch, and it's not just for United, it's for England.
Danny Blanchflower, a player-turned-sports writer, had a long experience of international games with Tottenham Hotspur and Ireland. He was alarmed at the degree of animosity between the two sides.
I think that Manchester United, when they went there, reacted to the situation that they didn't want violence, and everybody was naturally inhibited by the situation. They go out into a parochial, they're playing the Indians in their own camp, and they go out into a situation where all the Indians are there against them, and they don't want to antagonize the situation. So they draw back a little bit. It's not because they don't want to tackle or they're afraid of tackle. It's because they're afraid maybe of the consequences, which has been put into their mind before they start. Now, when the Argentinians come here, there is a danger of them being tramped to death at Manchester United, because all those Manchester United players, the young and the old and the feeble and the strong, will all be geared up emotionally to show these nasty foreigners what we can do to them. And there's a great danger of this nationalistic fervor running away. There should be some in it. The whole game is about prejudice. It's about one camp playing another. And it's no good without the emotion. But there is a danger that's going to be drummed up and that the people in the middle are not going to be able to control it. That is the danger.
Estudiantes in a workout for Wednesday's game at their training ground in Cheshire. Two of them asked us where they could buy pop records. We offered them a lift into Manchester. Zubeldia, the coach, was apprehensive. He said they preferred to travel to Manchester in a bunch.
I think they will play their own brand of football, which is a rough football. And I think they will go out and play their own brand and try and win or draw, because by drawing it will be enough to win the championship. And they will play as best they can for that. I don't think they'll be intimidated, although reading these things that are published in the press, one seems to think that they want to boil the crowd's blood up enough so that maybe they will be intimidated.
If there's 10 minutes from the end and they're winning, and if there's any bad fouls like it was down there, it's going to be trouble. It's got all round that, it's going to be real trouble. You know when they played what?
Well, I'd just like them to realise, first of all, what can happen if there's any trouble, and if anyone tries to get on the pitch. They won't see any more European football at Old Trafford for 3 years. The ground can be closed for 3 years, so they might not see any football. And we will automatically lose the match 3-0 if there's any trouble. So I'd just like to say, you know, behave. I mean, we need their support because it's not going to be an easy match. But I'd like them to shout for us, but keep calm.
We are the Woodley boys, and if you are a city fan, surrender or you'll die. We will follow United. We are the Woodley boys. We are the Woodley boys, and if you are a city fan, surrender or you'll die. We will follow United.